The voices of our long-gone fathers, of ancestors from the beginning of time, once echoed across these vast plains. The stories were told not just with words, but with the wind, with the whispers of the leaves, with the heartbeat of the Lakota people. But this is the story of a world about to fall. A world that was foretold.
My children, the spirit of our ancestors weeps. I have seen a storm coming, not from the sky, but from the distant horizon where the sun rises. I have seen iron snakes crawling upon our earth. They swallow the land. They swallow the sacred hills. This storm carries a strange sickness, a disease no herb can cure: greed.
Elder Two Crows, the keeper of ancient prophecies, felt the change in the air. Each day, more strangers arrived, people with eyes that only saw the shining metal hidden deep beneath the soil. They didn't hear the wind, they didn't see the signs of the spirits. To them, this land was simply a massive gold mine. And their leader, Caleb Reed, was the embodiment of everything Two Crows had warned them about. Caleb wasn't just looking for gold, he was looking for dominion. He believed this land, with all its wildness and beauty, was just a resource waiting to be taken, not a sacred place to be revered.
They come not to live together but to take. Wolves hunt in packs, but snakes do not. They consume their prey alone. But they do not understand. When they dig into the heart of our sacred mountain, they will not just find gold. They will awaken another force, a wrath that cannot be contained. You have been warned. The path ahead is difficult, but we must stand firm on this land, to hold on to our spirit and the spirit of this world.
And the prophecy began to take shape. Two Crows was not fighting a warrior, but an idea. The idea that these inanimate rocks were more important than the soul of a people. He knew that words could not change a man like Caleb Reed, but Two Crows wasn't speaking just to him. He was speaking to the men who followed him. In this divided world, every word was a seed.
The hills cried out as the iron picks tore them apart. The rivers turned red, not with blood, but with the mud and soil of the torn mountains. They came for gold, but they took something more valuable: water, life, and the spirit of the land.
Two Crows' warnings caused a great rift within the tribe. Elkhart, a young man who had learned English, believed they could negotiate with the settlers. "We don't have to fight them, Elder," he said. "We can learn to coexist. We can trade our less sacred lands for food and guns." But Red Bear saw it differently. He saw the arrogance of the white men. He saw the pain of his people and the destruction of the land. To him, negotiation was a sign of weakness. "They are not our brothers," Red Bear growled. "They are predators. We must fight. We must protect what is left before it is all gone." And then the second prophecy came true. The buffalo, the lifeblood of the Lakota people, began to vanish. They weren't hunted. They were driven away by the noise of the massive machines. At the same time, a strange sickness, a fever carried by the settlers, began to spread through the village. Two Crows watched as people wither away and understood a horrifying truth. This wasn't a war for gold. This was a war for the survival of the spirit. The prophecy was not just about physical destruction, but about the decay from within.
The fire you have lit is not for warmth. It will burn everything it touches, leaving nothing behind. The iron snake will bring not just death, but also forgetfulness. My children, when all is gone, what will be left is not gold, but the ashes of empty promises.
The sound of the railroad, the train horn echoing through the hills, became the soundtrack of doom. Settlers poured in like a flood, turning the green valley into a dusty town. And on the peak of the sacred mountain, where the spirits once resided, Caleb Reed found it. The massive gold vein. He shouted in triumph, but the sound was like a demon's howl. "No, this has to stop." Red Bear roared. "They have stolen everything. They have taken the lives of our brothers. We must fight now while they sleep." Against Two Crows' advice, Red Bear led a small group of warriors to ambush the camp. They believed they could win with surprise and courage. But they were wrong. Caleb Reed's men were armed with modern rifles, and the Lakota stood no chance. Red Bear fought bravely but was overwhelmed and fell. Caleb Reed stood over him, a triumphant grin on his face. "This is the fate of the weak," he sneered.
I have seen it. I have seen the future. Green pastures replaced by barren plots. Buffalo herds replaced by fences. And my people, they are confined to pieces of land that even the birds don't want to fly over. But I saw something else, too. When Red Bear fell, I saw his immortality. He fell as a warrior to protect what he believed in, and that can never be erased.
Two Crows arrived, finding the heartbreaking scene. Red Bear lay on the ground, his blood staining the earth, and Caleb Reed stood over him, the face of a victor. But Two Crows no longer saw Caleb as an enemy. He saw him as a victim of the sickness he carried.
Strangers, have you seen? This place offers you not life, but death. You have found gold, but the price is your soul. Your greed will consume everything. One day, you will stand on a barren, empty land and wonder why you are so alone. When there are no more hills to dig and no more rivers to muddy, then you will understand. The prophecy was not to save us, but to warn you.
Caleb Reed laughed. He heard nothing but the echo of his own victory. He ordered his men to continue digging. But in that moment, the ground beneath his feet began to shake. A great roar, not from man or beast, but from the sacred mountain itself. A massive landslide cascaded down. Reed screamed in panic as he watched the entrance to the gold vein get buried by the very rocks he had disturbed. He had won the battle, but lost forever. Years later, the railroad was complete. The towns were built. But Two Crows, now ancient, still stood on the hill. He watched the trains pass, listening to their whistles echo. His people had been forced onto reservations. They had lost their home. But they had not lost their story. Two Crows watched a young boy, his grandson, sitting by a fire. The boy listened intently, his eyes sparkling like the stars in the night sky. He was hearing the prophecies, the stories of the fallen heroes, and the lessons about the survival of the spirit. The physical frontier may have been conquered, but the spiritual battle continues. The prophecies were not a curse, but a gift, a warning that what is forgotten will return. The echoes of the old stories are still there, hidden in the wind, in the hills. And as long as a single Lakota heart beats, those ancient voices will never be silenced. They will be the fire to light the path for the generations to come.